Hey guys, it's Tracy. Welcome back to Love Your Shelf. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to talk about 3 challenges that have been literally consuming my life. And I just happened upon all of them. I wasn't expecting to do challenges, but they're here. So the first one is Big Book Summer, which goes from Memorial Day to Labor Day, which is, I think it was like May 24th, and it goes till September 2nd or 3rd. It's 102 days total. You read books that are 400 pages or more. It's not too late to get in on that. Like, you only have to read one. So if you're seeing this now, I'll leave a link for Big Book Summer and some big book recommendations that I've done before. So if you want to do that, like, you can, and maybe there is a book that you've really wanted to tackle that you haven't been able to yet. So originally, I put 15 books on that Big Book Summer, and so far I have read 8, kind of. Like, I've read 7 on my original list, and then I read one that was over 400 for book club that also goes into the second challenge I'm doing. So I added it, but I don't know if I'm adding it or if I'm replacing it, because I do have a lot of books left, obviously, 7 or 8, and I only have August left and a little bit of July, so we'll see what happens. But the books that I have read that are in the Big Book Summer Challenge, the biggest book that I had on there was Lonesome Dove, and I finished that first. It's 960 pages. And then I have a few that were barely 400, like one was 400 and one was 402 or something, I think. And that was The Boys in the Boat and An Ember in the Ashes. Boys in the Boat was one of my 5 stars this year. I only have 3, and it's one of them, so that's good. I don't want to say a lot of things about all of them yet, because once I am done with my Big Book Summer, I want to go through each of them. But Lonesome Dove was also really good. It took me like 400 pages to get into it, but then I ended up really enjoying it. Ember in the Ashes, I think I might start reading the second one sometime before the end of the year. It was not a horrible book, but lots of horrible things happen. Like, no good things happen in this book, and I wasn't super invested in the main characters, but someone on BookTube told me that the character that I like, they do end up doing stuff from her perspective, so I'm excited for that. Let me see what else I have, because they're on my Goodreads for what I have read. Oh, I read The Hate You Give, which is devastating. Like, it's so sad what this teenager has went through and chosen to do with her hardships. Like, is inspiring, but also she's way braver than me. Like, I was scared for her for the entire story, and she was scared for herself, I know, but like, she did amazing things with it, which is way more than what I would probably be able to do now, let alone when I was 16, and it's incredible. What else do I have in here? I'm getting into my Big Book Summer list, so let's see. Just for the summer, actually we'll talk about that last. So The Priory of the Orange Tree I'm reading right now, along with some others. I read Curious Tides, which is number 1 of Drowned Gods by Pascal Lascelles, and I really enjoyed reading it. And I originally gave it pretty high, like 4.86 stars, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like there are things that was lacking, but I didn't notice that when I was reading it, per se. Like, I noticed a few things, but I noticed more things if I think about it more now. But that's okay. The second one's coming out, and I'm excited for that. Gideon the Ninth was a struggle for me. A River Enchanted I have right now in Libby, but I'm reading another book and I don't know if I'll get to it before I have to rehold it. So we'll see, because I really want to read that one. Fairy Tale by Stephen King. The first third was so good, and the last 2/3 I also struggled with. Yeah, that's what I've read so far. I have A Gentleman in Moscow coming up on my Libby, and that is like the book I'm most excited to read that I haven't done yet. So, for my big book summer, I still have We the Living by Ayn Rand, A River Enchanted, The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois, The Seven Deaths or Seven and a Half Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, because there's two, it's the same book, but one is Seven Deaths and one is Seven and a Half Deaths. Like, the title changed depending, I don't know what that's about, but it's okay. A Gentleman in Moscow, The Name of the Wind, and Carve the Mark. So I do have a few left. Some are hefty. Priory of the Orange Tree is like 800. Name of the Wind is like 700. But I'm going to try real hard to finish those. So that is the first challenge that I started. And then I came across Herkyed, which is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. And I'll leave the link for that in here too, because the Cordy is her like booktube name. She is a hilarious, quirky, very individualistic, like she's a funny individual. I love her. I love her energy. And she has made the hardest book challenge you'll ever do, which started July 7th, because it was her birthday. So happy late birthday if you're watching this, but you probably aren't. And she has 25, so she's playing bingo. It's blackout bingo, and you have until 11:59 a.m. on July 6th. So it goes for a full year. And I am so excited. It has literally consumed my thoughts. Like, I stayed up till 2 a.m. like journaling about what I'm gonna do for what books, and you can double up on some, but only ones that she allows you to. So check it out. Like, it would be so cool if you're a part of this. It's still July, so you still have time to do it. One of the things that she has is read a new release in the month that it comes out for every month. So like, it's July 22nd. We have 9 days. I'm reading The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer, and I am about a third of the way through, and it's written a little differently, but I am very interested and intrigued in what the story has left. So that's exciting. So she has read a 500 plus book in a day. That's probably going to have to be a comic or a manga, because I'm not a fast reader. And it's so hard for me to like sit down and read, or even just be in my car all day and read, like, unless I plan a road trip. That might happen. We'll see what's up. 2 is complete an A to Z challenge. So in her A to Z challenge, she said that it can be first name, last name, or title. I specifically have made my own challenge where I'm going to do just last names. So that is something you can double up on. She'll talk to you about doubling up if you're interested in it. And 3 is pick a book and then like look at the back where the authors have blurbs and read that book, and then blurbs from like a book from the authors that wrote those blurbs, which I was really excited about. But I have went to bookstores and I looked at the back of books, and it's hard because 3 authors is like, it's not a thing. I'm sure it is on some books, but a lot of it is like the Seattle Times or the Washington Post, which is not an author. So I need to figure that out, and hopefully I have one of the books here. So I just counted my books, and not including the unhaul I'm doing, I have 503, so I'm halfway to a library, but I've only read 231, so I really want to make that part of it too, is make sure I'm reading more books. Okay, so number 4 is 5 books from 5 author tubers or author Instagrammers or author TikTok, whatever. I don't watch TikTok. I hate it, actually. So I guess it will have to be author tubers. That's what she called it, which I know about booktubers, but I didn't know there were author tubers. So that's definitely some homework I'm gonna have to do. There are some booktubers I watch that have written books, so that could help, but I'm not sure. And then we have start and finish a series with 4+ books. So for that, I'm thinking like maybe Red Rising, because my brothers got really into Red Rising, so we'll see. Or it could be, I have it here, 1 second. The Mortal Instruments. I've never read that actually, and I loved The Clockwork Prince and The Clockwork Princess and The Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. So I might read The Mortal Instruments. The selection I've heard isn't great, but I might do the selection anyway because it's fast. So we'll see, because it really depends. I have to make sure I have time for all of these books too. And then Magnolia Parks is something I've heard of, but it doesn't seem up my alley. So we'll see. I'm sure there's more, but that's what I have right now as far as potentials. 5 books or authors from different countries that aren't the US, the UK, or Canada. So for that, I picked countries, and one of them is Vietnam, because I was just getting a pedicure, and the person that was doing my pedicure, we were talking about books, and she says that she buys everything in Vietnamese, which I thought was so cool, and she showed me one of the books she was reading, and we talked about that. So I have, for Vietnam, She Weeps Each Time You're Born by Quan Berry, and it sounds really devastating. Like, I don't have these books yet, so, but I'm really excited to read it. Then I have Ireland, and I'm going to read a Claire Keegan book, because she's from Ireland, and I really want to read Antarctica, which is hilarious because it's like about a different place, but it's written by someone in Ireland. That's fine. And then I chose Nigeria because My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite is by a Nigerian author, and I got that book on my book crawl, and I haven't read it yet. And then my husband's from El Salvador, so I chose One Day of Life by Manilo Argueta. And then I told him to pick a country, and he said Uruguay. So I found a non-fiction book I'm stoked about called Out of the Silence After the Crash by Eduardo Strauch Yorosti. I probably said that wrong, but it's about a soccer player, and it's based on a true story where they got in a car crash, or not a car crash, an airplane crash, and he survived. But it sounds brutal, but I'm excited to read it, and I would have never even known that existed if it weren't for this challenge. And my husband's selecting Uruguay, so I'm excited about that. The next one is The Queer Rainbow. So protagonists that are LGBTQIA. So one that's questioning, one that's lesbian, one that's gay, one that's trans, one that is asexual, and oh my god, why can't I remember what the I is? I'll figure it out. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so the LGBTQIA rainbow, where the protagonist is LGBTQIA, and it goes through the whole thing. So for that, I have a few already. One of them is also from my book crawl called Don't Want You Like a Best Friend. And then I also heard Sissy by Jacob Tobiah is amazing, and so I really want to read that too. Then I have the 5 lowest rated Goodreads that are on my TBR. So I looked that up, and the first one is called All Is Song, which is written by an author that I read a book called Orbital from this year, and I looked through because I was like, I don't know what I think of this book, and so I'm interested in the other things this author has, and I put All His Song on there, and it's one of the lowest rated. Memoirs and Misinformation by Jim Carrey has 2.86. The Men, Wandering Peacefully, and Eating, Drinking, and Overthinking. So that's 2.86 to 3.07 are the highest. A few of them are nonfiction, like Memoirs and Misinformation by Jim Carrey and Eating, Drinking, and Overthinking. And I think Wandering Peacefully also is. So that's cool because I do really enjoy nonfiction books, and this will still give me the ability to do that. Then I have Read an Indie Book you bought directly from the author. For that, I have this book, Choice of Traveler. I met the author and bought this from her, Tony Binns, at a farmer's market, and I haven't read it yet, so I'm excited to do that. The next one is Read a Book by a local author from a local bookstore, and I have a lot of those, so it's just deciding what I want to do. I do have W.A. is Water, Exploring Washington in Poems, Photos, and Facts. So I might do that. I actually do read a few local authors here and there. And I have other options, so we'll see. Or I might get a new one, who knows. The next one is Spell and Read Your Full Name with book titles. So my full name has a ton of A's in it. And so I do have a lot of A's in here. Assistant to the Villain, Americana, An Arrow to the Moon, The Authenticity Project, and I left one because I have 5 or 6. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. I left one so I can choose what I want within there. And then I have some N's. So I have Not My Father's Son by Alan Cummings, which I've been wanting to read forever. So that's another nonfiction. I have Nocturnes by Kazuo Ishiguro. And then I have Nudge, a book called Nudge, and I don't remember what that is, but it has I was like, yes, we're reading this. So I have a lot of different things within here as well. I have some Y's, so I have You Better Be Lightning and You Can't Have My Hate. I haven't chose all of them yet, but I'm really excited about that. And that's when you can double up on 2, so that's good. Then we have Read 5 Spiffbo books, which is a contest where fantasy book authors enter, and they choose 300 books, and then they choose the top 10 and then the best. So specifically she said ones that didn't win. So right now my list is To Steal the Sun by S.M. Carter, Princess of the Broken by Jasmine K. Swinburne, Tea and Empathy by Shanna Swenson, The Best of Us is the Last of Us by Anthony Halligan, and A Touch of Light by Thiago Abdallah. The Sword of Kagan was part of this. I had no idea. And there's a few others that I was surprised were in Spiffbo that didn't win that are popular now, so that was pretty cool. 15 is Read a Completed Webcomic, which I know nothing about, and I haven't researched it yet, but I'm excited for whatever that brings. 16 is Read a Monthly New Release in that month. So right now I'm reading The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. In August, I have And So I Roar by Abby Dare, who's the same author that wrote Girl with the Loudian Voice, which is an incredible book, so I'm excited for that. September, I have Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune, which is the second book to House on the Cerulean Sea. October, I have The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I have only read one book by him, but I love him. Stranger Skies by Pascal Lascelles in November, which is the second book to the Drowned God series. And then Heavenly Tyrant by Zoran J. Zhao, which is the second book to Iron Widow. It comes out December 24th. It's over 400 pages. I hope I can read it in the week, but I'm really excited for that. I don't have January through June yet, so we'll see what happens there. 17, read one of the top 10 books in the year you were born. Beloved by Toni Morrison is in that top 10, and I have never read that, so I'm very excited for that. Do a 24-hour reading challenge, which I've never done. It says you must start and finish at least 3 books, and one of those books must be 300 pages. So I don't know what I'm doing for that, but we shall see. 19 is read a book with a recipe and then make that recipe. It has to be a new food to you. It can be found in the book and not have the actual recipe in the book, as long as you've never actually eaten it. I don't know what I'm doing for that yet. I've heard that Anthony Bourdain has like really good books, so I might read one of those and see what comes of that. We shall see. Complete a genre challenge, so one of each, and you can't double up on this. I have sci-fi, fantasy, mystery / thriller, horror, historical fiction. For historical fiction, it's the only one I picked. I'm gonna read The Women by Kristen Hanna. I've been told it's incredible. Romance, nonfiction, and literary fiction. 21 is read a book you helped crowdfund. So I'm gonna start looking into that soon. 22 is the Rainbow Challenge, colors. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, black, white, and brown. 23 is read a classic and an adaptation of that classic. I have never read Little Women, and I've heard Hello Beautiful is a great adaptation of that, and so I want to read those two, I think. That could change, but that's what I'm thinking. Read 3 books where the protagonist has the name of someone you know. So I'm going to read Election, which has Tracy Flick, for myself, and then I don't know what I'm going to do for the other 2. We'll see. I've been researching, but I haven't decided. Read The Seasons in the Season. So for summer, I just finished Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which is part of the Big Book Summer now, because it was 422 pages. And that is it. So that's the 25 challenges to read from July 7th of this year to July 6th of next year. And then the third challenge that I'm doing is Put On by Powell's. And Powell's is a giant bookstore in Portland that is owned, like it's locally owned, which is great. And they have, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a picture of it. Let's see. Yeah. So they have a bingo, but this is a different bingo. So I think this goes to like August 18th or something, and you just choose a line. So I believe, based off the stuff that I have Not Your Style, Poetry, A Friend's Favorite Book, and Set in the Summer. And then Just for the Summer is already there, so that's good. And then I have a free Your Choice, so I can put anything in there. Or I might go down the opposite end, which is released in 2024, and that's The Lost Story, or Abby Jimenez's book. A non-human protagonist, the free Your Choice, a book with red on the cover, and a book about love or friendship. So yeah, those are the 3 challenges I'm doing right now. It is kind of consuming my life, but in like the best way, because I'm reading a lot of very different things for me. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Any of you are able to join these challenges if you want still. Like, even if you watch this and it's August, technically you could read a book released in July of next year before July 6th. Like, you don't have to give up. You have till the end of August to decide that you want to do the Herkian challenge. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, those are the challenges I'm doing. I'll leave the links below for everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful book summer, whether it's big books or small books. As long as you're reading, that's what's important. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for coming and visiting me on Love Your Shelf. Namaste.